Good morning. Hey, Mark. Good morning.
Morning, Joe. How are you?
Good. This is Mark Stevens and Joe Shoup. Welcome to the Breakfast Club. How's everybody doing today? Anyway, got some good things happening. If you want to put in the chat box, let's make it public, the chat box, for a minute or two. Anyway, it's private now. You want to say hello to some people. Be careful what you put in here. Make sure you're just saying hello and so on and not talking to people about the weather. But we want to get right to some things this morning. We want to get right to some information that we have. But I wanted to talk to you a minute, Mark. You know, it's interesting. You know, we get off these calls, and we when we're not making phone calls, and you know, we think about things. We all think something different. I guess similar stuff, but. You know, I wonder if everybody, I know you talk about this, but I rarely talk about this, and that's, you know, why we do this, you and me. I mean, this is like a commitment every day. Good morning. Yep. Good morning, Rudy and Matt. And, hey, Matt, I've sent you messages back. Let me say this. I don't live in the Skype or text world. I'm getting better at texting, but I don't live in that world. I got a message last night from Max. I read it at 11, 12 o'clock last night, and he sent it to me 11 in the morning. Max Bondano. And the reason I didn't respond immediately, because I never saw it. I wasn't in there. I don't live in that world. That's not where I live. So if you guys are sending me messages and you're trying it on Skype, you know, or even texting, the best thing you can do is to pick up the phone and make a phone call to me. If I don't answer and it's important to you, call me back within 5 minutes and then make sure that you leave a message. Those things are easier for me. So if you, I know you had a concern, Matt, about, and I didn't see that. In fact, Mark and I searched all over for your comments yesterday to try to get that question answered, and we had some difficulty with some things and couldn't find it in the chat box. This was after we all hung up. All right, so let me make that announcement. But Mark, you know, we get on every morning and we do this. And the reason that I do this, I like it. I like teaching. I like to tell people things. I like to share what I have. And the things that we talk about are going to be the same context, the same foundation all the time. And that is about building a business. And for me, there's controversy there because I think even upper echelon people, the upper echelon of this industry, still don't have the new way of building or I say the old and the new way to build a business. They're massively put numbers out there. I mean, it happened in our company. Massive emails because these young kids know how to go out there and use social media. And they know how to, you know, hit hundreds of thousands of people and then get their people to do it, but they don't have any dialogue. You can't talk to them. And what you get is a massive influx of people, and now they leave the company and leave their people high and dry. So why do we do this? We do this because we teach communication skills. We teach people how to talk. You're not going anywhere in this business if you do not learn how to talk and learn to not be afraid or at least get comfortable when you pick up the phone and talk to someone, a prospect, a suspect, a candidate. And that's why we do this, because we like to educate. You can tell by Mark's passion that he loves to teach people. And this is a successful businessman over the years. built successful financial companies, was a record producer in Philadelphia. Most of you don't know that. We actually were in the same area at the same time and didn't know each other. So why spend all this time? Why spend all the time teaching people? Look, we have our own people in our own groups, under our own positions that we talk to, that we work with, that go listen to the recordings because they can't get there in the morning. And you people dedicate yourself to coming here every day. So when we talk like yesterday and some of the days that I talk, it sounds like, maybe there's a scolding going on. That's not the intent for sure. That's because we get questions and we realize people need help. And we're trying to give you guidance on how to effectively find the right people who will have some productivity. Because the entire industry is filled with people with no productivity. And then you have uplines who are now making money, who did not do it the way we're teaching. They held on and held on and held on until a couple of people stood up and ran wild. The people that are building their business are the people who know how to go to work. What some of those uplines did is they found those people who go to work, and they don't really go to work. Well, yeah, they do. They go to work finding the people who are going to go to work. And that's not what we teach. We teach everybody go to work. And I think that's the misconception, Mark. But that's why we do it, because we want to change that. We want to change that no matter whose downline or upline it is. We want to help them understand that this industry is backwards, that people are making money and the companies are making money and few people are making money. Now, they can dispute that if they want. Come on here and dispute it with me. That's what I tell them. Dispute the communication skills. Let's see what you teach. I hear companies say they're going to put together universities and training things, and it never happens. You know why? Because they don't know what to do with it. They can only teach you to go out there and massively get the people and dial phones and hold up a message for them and a recording, and then they don't know what to say to those people. I know this is a theme that we go on with all the time. You know why? Because that's the reality of it. Yesterday, I think it was Wendell he just took the class, and he said to me, a couple weeks ago it hit home. Now, I've known him for a couple of years. And for some reason, he just decided to take the class. But I've known him a couple of years, and listening to the Breakfast Club and having our talks, Mark, you know what he said to me 2 days ago? He said, Joe, it finally hit home. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, a recording you did a couple weeks ago. And it affects everybody differently. Mark does stuff that affects me, and I go, wow, I should have known that. And I know that happens with a lot of people. Some things, just that one, if you could just get one little thing out of every call, just one little tidbit that says, oh my gosh, I just need to do that. And today we're going to show you something. I'll spend the next 20 minutes showing you something that I think will hit home. But he said to me, it hit me a couple weeks ago. He said, you said something. I said, what'd I say? He said, you told the truth. He said, you spoke from your heart, and you told it like it is. I think Mark and I do that all the time. And I don't know which one he was referring to, because I think I do that all the time. I have constructive recommendation for uplines. I don't know that it's criticism. Maybe it is. I just don't like the way the industry runs, Mark, with not teaching people what they need to know. And, even when you teach people what they need to know, very few follow and really do it right. I hate to say it that way, but I think today you may see something different. We try to get something every day that helps you see the light. Here's what you should be doing, all right? Let me just say it in my own words, and then I'm going to go to some slides. Every day that you've decided to work at Karatbars or your business, no matter what business it is, you need to have picked out a space where you work. I don't care where you are. If you're comfortable, that's your space. A quiet space. You need to pick that out. Wally comes to my house sometimes, Mark, and he says to me, why don't you work in your office? You got this gorgeous office in there, this beautiful desk, and so on. And you sit at a counter like I am now, basically in my kitchen, as you can see. My little coffee grinder behind me and plants, and, you know, why do you do that? I said, because that's where I'm comfortable making phone calls. I sit on these cafe stools, chairs, and I sit up at the counter. I have a nice little bar up there, and I sit up there. Sometimes I sit on my couch and move this over there. I'm more comfortable there. Now, sometimes I go in my office to do things, but you got to pick out the space that makes you comfortable. You have to set your plan the night before and say what it is you need to do. What do you have to accomplish the next day? If you do that in the morning, great, but I find it better at night. So a daily planner. That planner should include the people you need to call and things you need to get done. You should probably at the top of the page have a goal. 10 contacts, 5 contacts or connections today. And you can't tell how many dials you're going to get. You just have to know that you've got to make 5 connections. Talk to 5 people every day that have seen the presentation. I'm not talking about talk to them and say, here, go look at this, and I'll call you tomorrow. That doesn't count. What counts is the number of people that you call back that says, I have seen the information and I want to talk to you. That's a connection. They want to talk because they saw something and it's grabbed their interest. Maybe it was the presentation. Maybe it was the, maybe it was the AdTech Worldwide, or maybe it was AdTech Gold, the 12-week plan, or maybe it was friends and family. Either way, it's got to be somebody. That connection means that they saw something, and now you're calling back saying, hey, Bob, it's Joe Shoup. The reason I called is this. You filled this out, and now I need to talk. That should be the foundation of the call. And the connecting, that's a connection. So that should be written down on your daily planner. And you shouldn't stop unless you have a time limit. It should take a couple of hours, at least 2 hours of work like that every day, making those connections. And the results will come. You can't manage those. You manage the activity. So I wanted to show you today that there's a pattern and a plan in business that I didn't create. I don't get, you know, this is basic stuff I'm talking about. All of you know this, what I just said. But when you see other people saying it, I get that light that goes on, Mark, and go, aha, see? People need to know what people are talking about in business. So let me show you a couple of things here. Let me first handle Robert. Repeat. If a customer has to go on a site 7 to 10 times before they may buy, why wouldn't it be the same for learning how to do so? If you hear, yeah. You're right. It is the same, Robert. You're right. So I guess you mean because we repeat stuff? I guess that's what you mean. I'm going to shut my camera off for a minute, and then I'm going to go there and share my screen. Want to add anything there, Mark?
I like what Robert just said, because that happens a lot. And I think people understand probably 78% more of what they see as opposed to what they hear. But the more that they hear it, like I think Bob Kuhn says, you know, you get it a certain way, then it comes natural to you. So all of this makes a lot of sense, and you just have to do it. It's that simple.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
I want you to take note that I didn't make this up. We'll call this the tip of the day. I want you to see these slides as we move along, but let's just read these together. Deploy a confident attitude. I want you to keep in mind as we go through this, this was written about business. It wasn't written about networking, especially. It was written by Barbara Weltman, and she's talking about business. She's talking about elements of the business, as you will see. It can be tough to make business decisions under pressure. Now, I thought of that, Mark, and I thought, yeah, we're talking about calling people now, talking to people, making a decision. Now, she's talking about a little different decision, but I related it to the phone call that you make and say, hi, Frank, Joe Shoup giving you a quick call. You know, you could really get under pressure if they start asking you questions you don't know the answer to. Why do you think we teach that? Pressure changes everything in life. A baseball player has to get a hit or the game's over. That's pressure. A quarterback has to complete the pass or this game is over. We saw that with the Super Bowl. They were under pressure. One team succeeded, the other didn't. So one of the things, Mark, that my attitude in business is to be a little tougher. When we read this, I kind of feel like me from a military point of view, because we're going to be talking about that on here. And I grew up with a father who was extremely military, and you can probably tell that in my attitudes at times. But it's going to come in handy here, and I'm going to discuss that as we move along. Following the likes of Sherman or Grant might help you keep a cool head and get to where you need to be. Channel your inner general to get things moving. Your affiliates, prospects, employees, and partners will be inspired by a leader that takes no prisoners and maneuvers with confidence. What do we say? People don't follow people, they follow courage. That's why these generals were followed, because they had enough courage to lead. And that, when you're making a phone call, the class over time and practice should get you to the point where you're the general of that phone call. You're taking control, and you learn how to do it by asking certain questions, by knowing the process. Let's take a look at this. According to the Small Business Association, 9% of all U.S. firms are veteran-owned, which is a substantial representation in the business world. Why are veterans so successful in business? Perhaps it's that their military training can be applied to business. Here's my take on the traits that serve veteran owners well. Non-veterans can emulate these characteristics to ensure success. Number one, leadership. Military personnel learn to make command decisions under pressure. They take control and exhibit confidence that inspires others to follow. Leadership in the military is used within the context of a team. It is meant to foster teamwork. This view of leadership is helpful in business as well, where teams are used for such purposes as sales and innovation. Now think about that for a minute. We talk about leadership and taking control. Learn how to take control of your conversations. That's what a leader does. They don't let the party on the other end lead them. They lead. And sometimes the attitude that I teach with, it sounds dictatorial, like a dictator. I know that. I'm very clear on that. And it's mainly, I guess, the military background stuff. And number two, it is the, it's the attitude of wanting you to learn and wanting you to understand, not to let people take control of you. Your success is only going to be determined by you. Be a leader, not rude on a phone call, but be a leader on that phone call so that that person on the other end knows that you're leading. Okay, 2, planning. We talk about this all the time. Military personnel must develop a plan of action. Officers are educated in military history and use what they learn to assess risk, and create new plans. If things aren't working for you, you have to assess them and create new plans. And we're going to talk about that regarding at one of the lead companies we use. We're going to talk about that on Monday. Make sure you're here Monday. We're making a change. And why? Because we've made an assessment. We've made a decision based on that assessment. And you need to hear this on Monday. The military uses the PACE planning system, which takes its name from our different levels of plans: primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency. The primary plan may not work out, but the objective can still be achieved by implementing fallback options. That's exactly what we're doing with one of our plans. Let's go to number 3, execution. Once there is a plan, it must be executed swiftly and efficiently. It is possible to practice execution skills and improve your ability to put a plan into action. In the military, war games and drills help soldiers to learn how things should be done right and how to prepare for what can go wrong. Practice in business, such as sales training, can be invaluable to your staff. That's why in the communication class, we put people together to practice, to learn. Part of planning and execution in the military is follow-up. Isn't that interesting? Mm-hmm. The military uses an after-action review to analyze what has happened, whether it went well, what went wrong, and what could be improved for future actions. What's that all about? Number 4, communication skills. Military personnel know how to give directives so that plans are carried out. They learn to be respectful of others and use this when criticizing others. They share their intel or intelligence so that others within their group have the same facts at their disposal. This improved communication also facilitates teamwork. This is why we teach. We share what we have. You know what most groups do in networking? They keep it to their own group. That's what most of the leaders do. My sponsor over all these years has been upset at me for years for spending time with people outside of the group. I'm not saying spend all your time, but I take phone calls and have visits and talk to people outside of my group. Why? Because that's what we're supposed to be doing, is helping each other without thinking of financial gain. That's what you should be doing for people as well. Honor, this is a big one for me. In the military, honor means being truthful and taking responsibility for actions. It is a characteristic that is highly valued, and all personnel are expected to act honorably. We know that doesn't happen in this industry. We know that there are people who are selfish. They're here for their own gain and not interested in anybody else's. Oh, they pretend they are. They have the big smile on their face and have big pep talks. And it comes right down to it, as you will see next week. Some of these people are selfish. They're not honest. And they have no honor. This is a real important thing. Not only do you have to do what's right for the consumer, you have to do what's right for the people around you. That's honor. Conclusion? Obviously, not everyone in the military possesses all of these admirable traits. Often we associate many of them with officers, but enlisted men and women may be just as likely to demonstrate these characteristics. As business people, we should strive to adopt some of the revered military behavior and attitudes that can serve us well in business. Now, I wanted to bring this up today, Mark, because it doesn't matter what business you're in. These characteristics have to be applied everywhere. These plans, these plans of action, these attitudes is what they are. This is about an attitude. And that attitude is about confidence. Getting to the class is about confidence. Learning how to take control, learning the 5 parts of a conversation, learning what no gaps mean, learning what be assumptive means. That's why we teach this. It's not about the money. It's about getting to the point where you can utilize and become the business person that they just talked about here. So this is recorded. You can go back and look at those things. And couple that with some of the things we talked about this week. The activity. What are you doing every day? If you're not following a plan of action, you will never build this business. It's almost impossible. Some people have done it because the way they've operated is running around all day long looking for people who are going to go to work. They're looking for the people to go to work to call the consumer like we do, the prospect, the cold market person, the list, using lists of people. The people that started making bigger and bigger money, they don't make these calls. They don't buy lists and call people up. They called everybody they knew until they found that one person that went to work and did what we're talking about here, had a plan of action, teaching their people how to talk, how to respond, how to answer questions, get them into this dial the phone mode. But they're not doing that. The upline, they don't do that. You and I are in the position where we need to be that person that teaches our people how to pick up that phone and how to find the prospect. You're not going to find them the way they did. Those days are over. You get lucky if you keep searching for for that one person that's going to go to work. In the meantime, go to work. Call the people from the lists, from the list that you accumulate, and find out if they're an interested party. That's what you have to do. And when you do, now with our company, with AdTech, you should be able to point them in the right direction. To say, look, we have a plan. You come here, you register, you get to Tools Rock, you go into the training room, you get the affiliate handbook, you get the checklist, and you set up your marketing tools. Now you're prepared. You've just been given all of the tools that you need in business to start telling people that you have a business and you're looking for people who want to help and grow our company and manage a business from home. That's our game plan. That's what we do. Now, we make mistakes along the way. We select companies and lead companies that don't work. We know that. They just talked about it, change the game plan. We're changing a game plan on Monday. Please be here Monday to find out what we're doing. We'll make that announcement on Monday. We're making the adjustment. And that's what we have to do. So I'm going to stop screen sharing, Mark, and go back to here. And stop sharing. There we go. And we'll go back if we can. There we go. So we're at the bottom of the hour. I don't know if you have anything you want to chat in with here. And in your chat box, if you do, make some comments. But the things we're talking about all week long are about getting into action. And I hope that that helps you to see that it doesn't matter what business you're in. It really doesn't. It's the same plan. Preparing yourself for action. So that's my tip of the day, Mark.
Well, I tell you, Joe, that's great. And the thing is that you just said what I was going to say, that it doesn't matter what business you're in. All these business principles apply. And they apply whether it's home-based, whether it's brick and mortar. It doesn't matter. Certain business principles apply no matter who you are or what you're doing. And that we need to understand that, because, again, just like we need to know who we are in business. Everything doesn't work all the time. But guess what? You have to work all the time to make everything work. Think about that. You have to do that. And you know, it's just like, how does a person become a superstar? They work at it, they work at it, they work at it. They do things that, I always say this, is that people that are successful in business, they're willing to do things that normal people don't want to do. That's a very important trait of a person that's successful in business. You know, some people, they don't want to get up early. Some people, they don't want to go to bed late. Some people, they don't want to miss that certain TV show or whatever. But the point is that in order to get something, you have to embrace change. In order to get something, you have to embrace the principles that make the business work. And if you're not willing to do that, you don't look for success, because it's not going to be there. That's my tip of the day. But,
well, it's a good tip, and so we'll just end it there. If anybody has anything they want to quickly do in the chat box, go right ahead. But we're at the beginning of the week. It's Friday, and it's time to think about this week. What happened this week? What was said here? You can go back to the recordings and hear it. I think today's an important day, and I didn't make any of this up. That's the good news for me. I researched it. I find this stuff. I get these every day. I get something like that in the mail, my email. So I scoured that this week to find these things, and I thought this was appropriate to close the week, to say this is business, and this is what you need to look at. You need to have an attitude, a kind of a military attitude when you're talking to people. It's not a cold call. When I say that, I mean you're not cold. You're nice to the people, but you're not trying to be nice. There's a difference. People trying to be nice, you see, make the mistake of sounding like a salesperson. There's Jackie, as you can see her.
Yeah. Here's another thing. I have a saying that friendship ends where business begins. You can't be friends on the phone. In other words, remember, if you're in the director capacity, or even, if you're in that capacity, or the director and training capacity, you're not there to be a friend. You're there for business. You have to communicate the right way, say the right things, introduce the person the right way. 3 minutes, you should be done. 5 minutes, you're done. When you get way past that, then you're saying too much. And you leave room for other things to come up that you don't need to get into right at that moment. There's time for that. You're not trying to make a friend. You're trying to bring on an additional affiliate partner. And that's the thing. We're partners. So we want to do what's best for all of us. That's why we're partners. You have your own business, per se. I have my own business, but with this family and what we're doing, we're partners because we want to see everybody succeed. And like I said, I'm going to say it probably, I don't want you to change. I don't think you're a dictator. I think what it is that in your heart, you want to see people succeed. That's the way you learned, and that's why you became successful, $40,000 a month. We want everybody here to make $40,000 a month. It's not going to happen overnight. You got to do some work. You got to learn the training. You got to get in a communication class and understand this. And then, like I said, give us a year, Joe, and let's see what it looks like a year from now.
All right. Well, have a great day, everybody. This is Joe Shoup with Mark Stevens. We'll see you on Monday. For those of you that took the class this week and need class number 2, please get to me. It's up to you to call me to schedule your time. If Gloria, if you're still on the call me. And Max, give me a little bit of time when I'm done. And I sent you a message, as you know, to call me. So for those that again, for the class, make sure you call me so we can set up part 2 for you. and also get over to me because I want to put you together. Once you get out of class 2, I need to partner you up with a few people. So, and Bob Coons, I think you might have called me and I didn't respond. I don't know if that was yesterday, if I did or I didn't, but either way, why don't you call me, give me about 15 minutes and give me a call. And anyway, have a great day, everybody. Thanks for being here today, and we'll look forward to the success. And the people having success here by being educated and learning how to run this business right. So this is Joe Shoup with Mark Stevens. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you on Monday.
Peace and blessings, everyone. Make it a great day.